The Professional Women's Hockey League launched on January 1st, 2024, and features the best women in hockey from around the world. The PWHL is currently in its sophomore season and thriving. Based in North America, the league has 6 teams, including Boston, Minnesota, New York, Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto, each playing 30 regular season games. The league recently announced its expansion to Vancouver and Seattle for the 2025 to 26 season. I sat down with Tessa Bonhomme and Tocheri, the co-host of the PWHL's official podcast Jocks and Jills, as they offered insight into expansion, the postseason, and so much more about the budding league.
What are your thoughts on that, just about having Vancouver and Seattle in the league now and sort of this westward expansion that we're pulling for?
I think it's fantastic. I think it speaks volumes to, the success the league has had, not even through 2 seasons yet. Everyone, when they talk about the league, I often feel like they talk about it like it's been around for 10 years and it hasn't yet. And it's still managed to garner so much momentum and success in its first little bout. It's still in such infancy, but to be able to stretch west, I think is just reaching more female hockey players and more fans, sports fans in general, which will be great for broadcast rights and things like that, which also help propel a league forward into, I guess monetarily where it wants to be able to do all of these things that we have planned and imagined. And I think the fact that, Vancouver and Seattle are the first two markets to join are fantastic, because we got to go to Seattle for the Takeover tour when it was there. And it was awesome. City aside, the city's beautiful. It's amazing. But in that venue, the people that showed up and showed out for the game, that got one heck of a game, it surprised me. I didn't realize. I had no idea. And it was a nice way to have your eyes opened. Vancouver obviously was so stoked and so excited. They always show up and show out for women's sports out in Van. So it's not surprising to me that these two markets are the first two to kind of kick the door open and help grow the league as well.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I was stunned by Seattle too. It was our first time there. I was saying to Tessa before, it feels a little bit full circle that Seattle and Vancouver are going to be the two first ones. So much great news about Jessica Campbell this year, and like she's created such a movement, not just in Seattle but around, like, people around the world are still amazed to see her behind the bench coaching an NHL game. So to see her drop the puck at that PWHL game, to know that PWHL Seattle is going to share a venue with her, and then Vancouver, right? Kind of where Canada's maybe, I don't know. I don't really remember 2002. I know 2002 is like the first one, but to me 2010 is the most iconic gold on home ice, and Tessa won that one obviously, and that's where the PWHL is going to first west in Canada. So it feels fitting.
The PWHL's 2025 Takeover Tour ran from January through March, showcasing 9 regular season games. Each game was held at a different neutral site throughout North America, with all 6 teams participating. Seattle and Vancouver played host for the first 2 stops on the tour.
So do you feel that the Takeover tour was almost kind of like a precursor for the expansion? Because, of course, like we said, it opened with Seattle and then Vancouver was next on the stop. Detroit had sellout crowds too. So what do you feel that the Takeover tour did for the league? How did it impact it? And was it kind of like a precursor, do you think, for expansion?
I think it's a great way for the league to, check the pulse on all of these different hockey markets, and to um, also grow a fan base. And, a lot of things need to be in place and done properly in order for a city to earn themselves the right to have a PWHL team. Venues are a big part of it. And I think, every market that the league went to this year took it very seriously and understood where their shortcomings were, and were eager to, find a new way to fix them, or find a different avenue maybe a team could go if they did land in their city. I love it, because it just continues to prove to everybody that, like, sure, there may only be 6 teams to start, now 8. But you can go across this country and these ladies are packing venues. I mean, in Denver, we had them, they were chanting, "We want a team." Like, and that was on them. No one else started that. Those were Denver hockey fans that started that. And they're very much a sports city. So yeah, I think it's just a way for the league to kind of check the pulse on where we're at in PWHL fandom, and who is capable of truly hosting a true professional team. It's not just having one there and getting them to play here, there, and everywhere. They need to have a home, and the team needs to be treated as, a true professional team as well.
The regular season ends May 3rd, and the playoff race has come down to the wire. New York is the only team that has been eliminated from the postseason, but it doesn't mind playing the role of spoiler. Montreal and Toronto have clinched the top 2 seeds, while the final 2 teams will be determined after Saturday's triple header.
Which matchup are you most excited for? We have Boston against Minnesota. Will they kind of get
Great
their
question.
redemption?
I think I am most excited for Toronto, Ottawa. Is that biased of me? Because I think I'm going to be at the game. I'm most excited for Toronto, Ottawa because they played the last day of last season as well in the exact same scenario. Toronto was already in, and Ottawa needed a win to get into the postseason, and Ottawa did not get that win. And now Ottawa has like a second chance at redemption in the exact same situation a year later. And I'm really excited to see if they've evolved at all as a group. So I'm pumped for the Battle of Ontario on
Yeah.
Saturday. Hopefully that's the only Battle of Ontario Saturday also, or else I'll be like watching from a hyperbaric chamber like I was just telling you.
I think too with that game, Toronto can, if Montreal loses their game, Toronto can clinch first place as well. So Montreal will be on the road on the Saturday, the last game to start against New York, a team that really has embraced the role of playing spoiler. So that definitely that Ottawa Toronto game means a lot. But the one right after it, Minnesota Boston. If Minnesota's going to know what's happening in the Ottawa game, and they're 1 point behind Ottawa right now. So they need more than more than 1 point to get in. And they're playing a very tough Boston Fleet team that is like so playoff ready. They're just built for the playoffs. They're a heavy team. They've got the offense. They've got the goalies. It's like they're going to be in tough, but they're a team that this time last year had to win themselves in, and they know how to do it. They've got the leadership to get it done, and they did. I mean, you look at their game last night that they played. It was their leaders that got them there. It was Kendall Coyne Schofield, Lee Steckline. These are all seasoned vets that, earned themselves a very important 3 points. So Ottawa last year had, I think, 3 or 4 cracks at getting themselves in, earning a point, and they couldn't. So they're in the exact same spot again. And then Minnesota finds themselves in the exact same spot again. It's crazy how all of these things are just lining up.
So if Minnesota were to be able to pull through and go on and win the Walter Cup again, do you think that would be good for the league to kind of be sort of like in its infancy and have a dynasty team? Or do you think it'd be more refreshing for the fans to kind of see a new new person?
Interesting. The idea of a dynasty is so intriguing because I don't think that we can really have a true dynasty in the PWHL until teams rather are individually owned, right? Because we have this sole proprietorship right now, and that's what's so great. Like we have such great parity; any team could beat any other team on any given night. I'm a little bit intrigued by the idea of having a repeat champion, but I think I'm more intrigued by the idea of another legendary superstar in the game hosting the Walter Cup this year. Like we got to see Kendall Coyne do it last year. Maybe it's time to see Hilary Knight or Marie-Philippe Poulin or Brienne Jenner hoisted above her head this season.
So of course, the top seed gets to choose their semifinal opponent, which I think is so cool, like such an awesome innovative rule. How do you feel about that, though? Do you like the fact that the PWHL does this?
Yeah, I love the fact that they do things differently. It's not just, okay, well, what are the men's leagues doing? It's like, no, this is our league. How do we want to do this? Well, you look at last season, Toronto picking Minnesota and then Minnesota beating them and going on to win. Like it creates these rivalries or this extra drama, these extra storylines that like we can dive into and we can create, even though it might just be, all right, just throw the names in a hat. We'll pick one. We'll see who we get.
Yeah.
It allows us to kind of, get a little bit creative on our coverage and help stir the pot with these teams. And, so it might be beneficial to be able to pick your opponent, but is it? Because all you're doing is really, lighting a match under an already gaslit fire that teams come in want to take it to you, like you're picking us. You know what I mean? So I love it.
100%. Yeah, no, there's a sense of pride on the line there when you're chosen like that.
Yeah.
The PWHL is an inclusive league that proudly supports its players. The league launched 6 Unity games from March through April across all 6 teams, celebrating equality and the community.
What do you think just makes the PWHL so special right now?
I think that it's I've said a couple times that it feels like a celebration. Like it really does feel this league exists because of the players that are in it. This league exists because Kendall Coyne got on the phone and called Billie Jean King and said, "How do we do this?" And the players worked together and made it happen. And the league also exists because fans have been asking for it for a long time. So I think the reason it feels so special as is because it has been such a labor of love and it has been such a collective thing that everyone has been working towards. And I think that's my favorite part about working for the PWHL. It feels like a whole bunch of people pulling in the same direction for a collective goal, which is just putting women's hockey on the highest pedestal. And that's what it feels like everyone is out to celebrate every game.
Yeah, and I think that you know, in this league, players are celebrated for their uniqueness and for who they are, as opposed to being dampened or quieted out or pushed out of a league. This league prides itself on the many different characters that don the jerseys. They're proud of them. They help promote them, as do we. And like Julia said, when you get in the rink, it's like no other sporting event you've ever been to. It is fun. There's a lot of singing, there's dancing, there's people just having a good time being themselves, and it's allowed. No one's too cool. It's not too corporate. It's just a party.
Do you have a favorite sort of PWHL moment from the season? There's been so many milestones, I feel. We had 2 hat tricks in one season. We had the Michigan goal. We had a fight this season. Do you or even off the ice too? There's so many special things. Seattle game I know was really big for you. But what's your sort of most special moment, would you say, for the season?
For me,
Ooh.
I think it was just most recently what took place with Carly Jackson earning a win in her first ever start and didn't even allow a shootout goal to go in. She's such a staple in the Toronto/PWHL community that she's beloved. She's a legit superstar. Like she is so famous, and as a third string goalie who never really saw a sniff of ice time, can go out there and prove to herself right before expansion too. Julia mentioned this in a prior interview that, you know, she's able to show like, yeah, I may be a third string goalie here, but I can play. And she played great. And to see how excited and happy she was, her teammates were, the fans were, like it was just a really good moment, and one that I think she's earned and is so incredibly deserving as well.
Oh, my favorites this year. Honestly, you mentioned some of the highlights. The Michigan goal was insane. I fell off my couch when Abby Rock did that. The fight was also insane. That was happening the same night that Canada and the US were playing at Four Nations, and it had just as much momentum and traction on social. It was really amazing. Carly Jackson too. You know what? I love when Kath Dubois scored in Quebec City as
Yeah.
well in front of her home fans. Like there were so many. I swear, like the PWHL has some sort of ghostwriters in the hockey world because the storylines are amazing this year. There were so many great moments. I can't wait to see what happens in the playoffs.
The puck drops for the postseason on May 7th with a rematch of last year's semifinal as Minnesota takes on Toronto in the first round of the 5-game series. Visit the PWHL's official YouTube page after every playoff game for Jocks and Jills and hear live reactions from Tessa and Julia. Reporting from San Diego, California, this is Charisse Cohey.